Hello, today is Friday, March 12, 2021. I wrote a piece about Medusa is the Mullah's Turban. I will be speaking the English language, then I will be speaking the Persian language. A Persian expression conveys a strong message of the Mullah's role in Iranian society. If a person leaves a Mullah's birth like this, under the birth says made in England, this statement reverberates in Iranian political culture from the time of the Safavid dynasty to the present time. Wishing Iranians acted prudently in the 70s and not naively follow Khomeini Hindi made in England. If Iranians acted wisely, Iran would be a developed nation now. However, Iranians did not act wisely, and as always, allowed England to play a trick with Iranians. England played countless dirty tricks with Iran, and Iranians to take away land from Iran and hand it over to Russia during the Great Game. Plus, no Iranians should ever forget how military strike of England and Russia during World War II against Iran, while Iran declared itself a neutral state and did not want to participate in World War II. England pursued a firm policy of destroying Iran to the 70s when the British Broadcasting Corporation provided Khomeini a platform to foment chaos and anarchy in Iran. BBC knew Khomeini was a criminal. Khomeini's criminal record was going back to the 1963 when Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi executed the White Revolution in Iran with the consent of the parliament to modernize Iran. Khomeini did not like the White Revolution because Iran was moving toward the epoch of the Cyrus the Great. Khomeini wanted Iranians to remain in dark ages as the mullahs made all decisions for them. According to Mullah's doctrine, which is superstitious and dogmatic, it was essential to understand a puzzling question that how many angels were dancing at the tip of a pin. Therefore, the British Broadcasting Corporation and other foreign political actors knew well that Khomeini had no peaceful plan for Iran. Otherwise, they would not assist him in instigating the 1979 revolution in Iran. I could hear Khomeini's voice on the BBC radio. He encouraged Iranians to set on public fire properties, attack the soldiers randomly, attack at the military base to destroy the army. He asked people to attack women and children whose husbands were military officers, kill Soviet agents. He called for vandalism and torching Iran. Iranians followed him because the BBC said that Khomeini appeared on the moon. Iranians came out of their homes at night and looked at the moon. They clearly state that they saw Khomeini's image on the moon. Iranians did not ask themselves this question. Muhammad claimed to be the prophet of Allah. He never performed a miracle. How was it possible Khomeini performed a miracle in this magnitude as his image appeared on the moon? Because the king spoke English, French, and German, people said Khomeini spoke 5 languages. There was a rivalry, like they were comparing highly educated, sophisticated man with Khomeini. He couldn't speak Persian language. People thought of Khomeini as a divine being and Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi as a tyrant. They were encouraged to sacrifice themselves for Khomeini's elusive social justice that he promised them. The US President Jimmy Carter was willing participant in the destruction of Iran. People called Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi the Papa of the US and wanted the king to descend from the peacock throne. Jimmy Carter's words broadcasted from the BBC that he supported the king to remain in power in Iran. Iranians would become enraged when they heard on the radio that US President Carter sided with the king. People would come out of their homes and chanted death to the king. Later on, Jimmy Carter played his dirty trick with Iranians that the king failed to uphold human rights. Once again, the Iranians could not control their emotions and became emotional and would come out of their homes to torch anything around them. On January 17, 1979, Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi did not want to hold on power at the cost of his people's blood. He left Iran with no prospect of coming back to Iran. The Jimmy Carter's administration began to paint Khomeini as a divine being, that he was sitting on the right-hand side of God. On February 8, 1979, Andrew Young, the chief United States delegate to the United Nations, praised Islam yesterday as a vibrant cultural force in today's world and said that Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, the Iranian Islamic leader, would eventually be held as a saint. Mr. Young going considerably further in his views than has the Carter administration, declared that it would be impossible to have a fundamentalist Islamic state in Iran because too much Western idealism has infiltrated that movement. Islam is a vibrant cultural force in today's world and not something that died with the Middle Ages. The delegate paid in an hour-long meeting with the New York firm, a group of the New York City reporters at the City University Graduate Center. He said that Islam had been revitalized with young people with Western education and added, "I don't think the Ayatollah realized the force he is in control of." You see, they are just good at painting. The US administration, doesn't matter it's Republic, Democrat, they just like to paint it. And if they're coming short, Hollywood kicks in. Hollywood kicks in, man. Hollywood. It's the Hollywood that's kicking in. Okay? Khomeini did not remove the turban right away. He went to the Rafai school and hid from the public view. He asked for General Mehdi Rahimi, General Nasiri, General Naji, and General Khosrodar. Khomeini removed his turban and showed the snakes on his head to the above military generals. Khomeini took their lives to ensure his longevity as a statement of Persia that he had no feeling for it. Iranians were busy cheering with their newfound divine Khomeini. Khomeini was preoccupied with killing Iranians. Iranians thought by being silent everything will go away. The Western nations were busy depicting Khomeini as a beloved divine man of the year. On January 7, 1980, the Time magazine published Khomeini's picture on the cover of its magazine and called him Man of the Year. Still, the US propaganda machine was supporting Khomeini's snakehead. Khomeini enjoyed his role as a statesman of Persia. He was walking around without any shame of having a snake on his head. Khomeini killed anyone. He killed Iranians in prison because they did not share his views. Those Iranians who did not want to oppose Khomeini went to Iran and Iraq war, and they died. Khomeini started Iran and Iraq war because he wanted to export his revolution to the world. He asked Iraqi Shia Muslims to revolt against Saddam Hussein. Khomeini's preconceived plan did not go so well. Saddam Hussein nullified the 1975 Algiers Accord and launched a massive military attack on Iran. Khomeini said many times to Iran to go to war and die for Islam. Eventually, Khomeini concluded he could not defeat Saddam Hussein. He accepted the peace treaty with Saddam Hussein. Khomeini was not a humble man. He felt humiliated in front of the world that he could not win the war against Iraq without the support of foreign actors. Khomeini passed his snake turban to Mullah Ali Khamenei. He attached those snakes to his head. He began to kill anyone who stood in his way. In conclusion, it is clear and evident that a strong Iran poses a threat to Western nations. The Western countries have a policy of making sure the Medusa in Iran will remain in power, so Iran would remain a weak nation, as the young people are killed in Iran or escape for a better life outside of Iran. The Medusa story needs a hero to save Iran and Iranians from relentless slaughter. Perseus will not rescue Iranians because he is waiting for Iranians to step forward to become the hero of their destiny. I will be speaking Persian language. Medusa Greek mythology رو سرش مار هستش و انسانها رو میکشه و همون داستان ضحاک خود ماست، ولی من تغییر دادم به مدوسا. آوردمش، ملاها رو سرشون، خمینی رو سرش مار بود که آدم ها رو میکش. جدیداً این کشورهای غربی مثل جیمی کارتر میگه من هیچی نمیدونستم، این خمینی آدم بدی بود، من یه آدم مظلومی هستم، مثلا از اینجور کارا نبود، من اصلا قصد بدی نداشتم. یه آدم دروغگوش، شارلاتان. و من 1963 میلادی کاملا مشخص بود، همه میدونستند که خمینی یه شیطان پرسته، اصلا انسان با خدای نیسته، یه آدم شیطان پرستیه، اومده و داره آدم کشی کرده بود. به همین خاطر شاهنشاه حکم اعدام داده بود. بعد گفتن اصلا ایشون سید نبود، ملا عمامه سفید میزد، بعدن که گرفتنش عمامه سیاه میزنه رو سرش که اعدام نشه. میگن آخه بره از این کشور، بره، رفتش. بعد بی بی سی و اینا، چرا بی بی سی این کارها رو میکنه؟ برای اینکه بی بی سی کشور انگلیس از ما ایرانی ها خوششون نمیاد، یه ایران ما رو تجزیه کردن دادن دست روسا. بی بی سی اومد به خمینی پلتفرم داد. من خودم شنیدم خمینی میگفت برید آدم بکشید، برید ساختمون آتیش بزنید. کجای این مرد الهی بود که شما ایرانی ها فکر کردید این؟ من